Welcome to Western Kentucky University. I'm David Lee. This is Van Meter Hall, the oldest campus building perched here on the edge of College Heights. For nearly 80 years, the Western community has assembled here to celebrate its most solemn campus traditions. Once faculty and students met here daily for chapel, often conducted by the school's founder and president, Henry Hardin Cherry. Chapel is no longer a part of life on the Hill, but on April 14, 1989, the Western community assembled in Van Meter again, this time to celebrate the inauguration of a new president, Thomas C. Meredith.
For South Central Kentucky and its economic development and its attractiveness.
A native of Owensboro, President Meredith received his bachelor's degree from Kentucky Wesleyan and his master's from Western. He began his career as a high school teacher and coach before moving into administration as a high school principal. He received his doctorate in 1971 from the University of Mississippi and later served as the Associate Director of the Mississippi Board of Trustees of State Institutions of Higher Learning. Prior to assuming the presidency of Western, he held the post of Vice Chancellor of Executive Affairs at the University of Mississippi.
Will you please stand for the invocation to be given by Dr. John Long, Associate Professor of Philosophy and Religion at Western.
Let us pray. O our God, eternally wise, it is to you who imparts the gifts of intelligence and of wisdom to humankind that we come. With thanksgiving, we are assembled here today to hold this ceremony to inaugurate the 8th President of Western Kentucky University, Dr. Thomas C. Meredith. With joy, we come to this moment. Yet, in the happiness of the occasion, we do not lose sight of its seriousness. The responsibility of presidency of an educational institution is difficult in the best of times. Its difficulties are compounded in the present time. On this occasion, which marks the assumption of office of a new leader, our petitions are that you move all of us, government, citizenry, local community, university administration, faculty, staff, students, that you move all of us to use the intelligence that you have granted to us for good, that you move all of us to be concerned and to be active to improve education in our Commonwealth for all of its citizens, that you move all of us to work to discover for every problem solutions that are just, reasonable, accomplishable, and beneficial, that you move all of us to work together to build and to maintain strong and solid bonds of trust and good faith, and that you move all of us to think not only of our own well-being, but also of the well-being of others. For President Meredith, we do especially ask for the full endowment of wisdom that will enable him to determine and further to develop our university's strengths, to know and to meet its needs, to recognize and to correct its weaknesses, that will enable him to analyze each situation accurately and to respond appropriately, that will enable him to chart a course for this institution that will make the best use of the abilities of all of its people. For his family, which may come under tremendous pressures, we ask that they be able to offer to one another understanding, patience, love, and support. Hear our prayers, grant us our petitions, and grant that we may savor this inaugural day. So we pray. Amen.
Awake the heart, the light awake, and let your joyful song
I would like now to introduce the members of the President's family, and I ask them to stand so the audience may recognize and honor and welcome them. First of all, the President's lovely wife, Susan. His two sons, Mark and Matt. His mother, Charlotte Meredith of Owensboro. And Mrs. Meredith's parents, Charles and Betty Steen of Boonville, Mississippi. Also in attendance today are numerous friends and other members of the Meredith family from the state of Mississippi. We're extremely pleased to have them with us on this special occasion, and we welcome you to Western's campus. The President depends upon many groups within and without the university for support. Several individuals who are representative of these groups will bring salutations on behalf of these constituencies. Mr. Scott Whitehouse, senior marketing major from Louisville, Kentucky, president of the Associated Student Government, and student representative on the Board of Regents, will bring salutations from the student body. Mr. Whitehouse.
I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone that has gathered here today for this historic event. I also would like to tell you about our president from a student's point of view. During the search process, I said continually that Western needed a student-oriented president. Many of the candidates we talked with had this quality. However, one individual stood out, or maybe should I say stood tall. This person, as you well know, is Dr. Thomas C. Meredith. Dr. Meredith has done a fine job of reassuring the Board of Regents that the correct decision was made. Western Kentucky University is very lucky to have a Board of Regents that cares so much for it. Back to the man of the hour, though. As Dr. Meredith travels around our Commonwealth speaking to Rotaries and alumni groups and every other group that you've been speaking to for this past 11 months or so, the Western spirit continues to grow. Dr. Meredith, you have shown that you too have a love for our university. And on behalf of the student body, I wish you continued success.
Dr. Jim Phillips, president of Western Kentucky University Alumni Association, will bring salutations on behalf of the more than 60,000 alumni of Western Kentucky University.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Meredith, Board of Regents, and many honored guests. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I am pleased to bring you greetings and congratulations from our 60,000 members. President Meredith, the alumni want you to know that we are ready to give our full support and help in any way. As the university moves into the 90s, the alumni will be ready for the challenge and changes that we know must take place. The alumni are confident that you, Dr. Meredith, as president, will continue the spirit of the Hill in the accomplishing the greatness of the university. Thank you.
Now offering salutations from local governments are the Honorable Patsy Sloan, Mayor of Bowling Green, the Honorable Basil Griffin, Judge Advocate of Warren County, I should say that I'm delighted that Patsy's here, though she will not be in the best of voice, she tells me. She's suffering from a bit of laryngitis.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. It's a real pleasure for me to represent the city of Bowling Green this afternoon and to extend a warm welcome to President Tom Meredith. We in city government are well aware of the important role that Western Kentucky University plays in the economic, social, and cultural life of this community. Throughout the years, the city and the university have worked closely together to enhance the quality of life in this part of the state. President Meredith, in the few months that he has been here, has demonstrated time and again, in many ways, his commitment to continuing that working partnership. So, President Meredith, we congratulate you on this auspicious occasion and wish for you and your family many happy, productive years at this fine university and in this community. Thank you.
Isn't this a wonderful day? This community loves this institution, loves what it stands for, and many of us will always be indebted to it. Dr. Meredith, you have great students, and I always wanted to say thank you, faculty, for what you do at Western and what you do in this community. You have a lot of help, Dr. Meredith, and we're proud of it. And we're proud of you because we know now great things are going to happen at WKU.
Dr. Fred Murphy, Professor of History, Chair of the Faculty Senate, and a senior member of the faculty, will present salutations on behalf of the faculty. Dr. Murphy.
President Meredith, in behalf of the faculty of Western Kentucky University, I want to extend to you our warmest good wishes for a long and distinguished presidency. Western has accomplished much in the past, but we are confident that the greatest achievements lie still in the future. In the months since you have arrived here on campus, those who have had the opportunity to work with you and to know you have come to understand and to appreciate your commitment to educational excellence and your vision for the future of Western. We as faculty are looking forward to continue working with you as your colleagues in the exciting and challenging years that lie ahead of us, as together we seek to assure that in a time of anticipated expansion, there will be no compromise with educational quality, and that Western will be able to achieve the full greatness for which it has the potential. Again, Mr. President, we welcome you and your family to Western Kentucky University.
Mrs. Earlene Shell, Special Events Coordinator, Library Special Collections, will bring salutations on behalf of the staff.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. Dr. Meredith, on behalf of the staff of Western Kentucky University, I bring you greetings on the occasion of your inauguration. In the short time you've been here at Western, it has become apparent that you are not only our chief administrator, you are our leader. You have assumed the presidency fully aware that Western has been and continues to be an outstanding institution of higher education in Kentucky. You have also encouraged us to build on that reputation and try to do better. You have challenged us to set high standards and goals, to seek excellence in all that we do, and to be aware of new opportunities for growth and service. Your expectations are high, Dr. Meredith, but I am confident the staff will respond positively as we have in the past. I speak on behalf of individuals who are loyal, dedicated, and hardworking. We take pride not only in performing at our personal best, but in the contribution we make to the overall success of this institution. Dr. Meredith, the staff accepts the challenges you have placed before us. We welcome your leadership, we support you, and we wish you the very best as you lead us into the next decade. Congratulations.
Dr. Kelly Thompson, third president of Western Kentucky University, who is today chairman of the board of the College Heights Foundation, will offer salutations on behalf of the former presidents.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure for me this day to bring a salutation on behalf of the former presidents of this institution. Remarkably, 5 of the 7 are still active in higher education. 4 of them are present today. President Meredith, we are proud of the manner in which you have begun your administration at Western. We're optimistic and we're enthusiastic relative to the directions in which you have chosen to point this educational institution. As former presidents of Western, we feel a very special kinship with you. Our attitude is totally empathetic. Our confidence in you is complete. Our prayer for you is that God will give you health, that He will give you strength, and that He will give you wisdom. As you would know, such an appeal for you personally is also a supplication for the many thousands of alumni, students, faculty, staff, and friends in general who are today bonded together in common hope. President Meredith, I bring you the best wishes from Dr. Kern Alexander, Dr. Donald Zacharias, Dr. John Minton, Dr. D. Downing, and the speaker. Permit me also to speak for Dr. Paul L. Garrett, the second president of Western. I knew him both as my chief executive officer and as a friend. He would want to be included. Permit me also to speak for our illustrious founder, Henry Hardin Cherry. I knew him well, both as the inspirational leader that he was and also as a friend. I know that he would cherish being included. Mr. President, please know that we, as one, extend to you an invisible but firm and confident hand clasp as Western Kentucky University, under your leadership, moves onward toward the goal of being among the very best in the land.
Dr. Gary Cox, Executive Director of the Kentucky Council on Higher Education, will extend salutations from the Council.
It is a professional and personal honor for me to officially greet and congratulate you, President Meredith, on behalf of the Council on Higher Education. I often have to explain our system of divided responsibilities among the council and the governing boards of the universities here in Kentucky. And I usually say, in all seriousness, that the most important responsibility of a university's governing board is selecting a president. So I also want to congratulate Western's Board of Regents for making such an excellent choice in Tom Meredith. Tom is a native son of Kentucky, as the holder of degrees from two of the outstanding institutions of this region, as an expert in statewide coordination, and as one most recently in charge of executive affairs of a major university, has literally the perfect background to lead this university during certainly the most challenging and promising period in its history. As we see it at the Council, Western Kentucky University is on the move as never before in enrollment, in quality of programs, in supporting the economic development of this region, and in playing a major and decisive role in the improving of education in the public schools of Western Kentucky. We on the Council applaud WKU and specifically Tom Meredith and the WKU Board of Regents for your efforts and accomplishments, and know that they will continue. I can report to you that relations between the Council and Western are off to an excellent start under President Meredith. And not only you in this region, but all Kentuckians are benefiting from our mutual dedication to give the people the finest of advanced instruction, research, and public service they have ever had. And with all of us working together, we can do even more. Tom, congratulations on the honor officially bestowed on you today, and congratulations to all of us for being fortunate enough to have you with us.
I want to thank all of you for your comments of challenge, commitment, and goodwill. They're deeply appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you at this time Mr. Larnell Harris. Mr. Harris, 4-time Grammy and 8-time Dove Award winner, has been called one of the most exciting voices in gospel music. A music scholarship brought him to Western Kentucky University, where he traveled with a musical entourage to Europe and the Caribbean. He once planned to become a teacher after he graduated and even had a job lined up. His plans changed when he received an offer to join the Spurlows, a full-time musical ministry group. After 5 years with this group, Mr. Harris went solo and recorded his first album, Tell It to Jesus, for Word Records. 2 more albums followed, one of which won him his first Grammy nomination, and from there his career took off. It is a pleasure for me to present Larnell Harris, a 1969 Western Kentucky University graduate who has come home to join us on this special occasion. Mr. Harris.
there is freedom. It's somehow breathed into the very soul of life. The prisoner and the powerless, the slave have always known it, that there's just something that keeps reaching for the sky. And even life begins because a baby fights for freedom. And the songs that we all love to sing have freedom's theme. And some have walked through fire and flood to find a place for freedom. And some have faced even hell itself for freedom's dream. Let freedom ring wherever minds know what it means to be in chains. Let freedom ring wherever hearts know pain. Let freedom echo through those lonely streets where prisons have no keys. We can be free and we can sing. Let freedom ring. God built freedom into every fiber of creation, and He meant for us to all be free and whole. But when my Lord brought freedom through the blood of His redemption, His cross stamps pardon on each and every soul. And now I'll sing it out with every breath. I'll let the whole world hear it. This hallelujah anthem of the free. Let freedom ring down through the ages from a hill called Calvary. Let freedom ring wherever hearts know pain. Let freedom echo through those lonely streets where prisons have no keys. We can be free and we can sing. Let freedom ring. We can be free and we can sing. Let freedom ring. Let freedom
As most of you know, Governor Wilkinson is in the hospital in Florida and cannot be with us today. He has, however, sent the following letter, which I would like to read. It is addressed to Dr. Thomas C. Meredith. Dear President Meredith, Regents and friends of Western Kentucky University, I am deeply disappointed that I could not be there today to join in the celebration of Dr. Tom Meredith's installation as president of Western. Western's strength in large part comes from a tradition of educational excellence and strong leadership. Tom, I know you are committed to the continuation of those traditions. Today also marks a new beginning as Western seeks to reach new goals and new heights of achievement under your leadership. Please accept my heartfelt congratulations. To the many friends of Western, let me urge you to give President Meredith the same support and encouragement you have given his predecessors. Western's future is in good hands. Sincerely, Wallace G. Wilkinson. Now it is an honor and privilege for me to introduce to you the man who served as a mentor for President Thomas C. Meredith, Dr. Gerald Turner, Chancellor of the University of Mississippi. Dr. Turner began his tenure at Ole Miss in 1984 as the 22nd Chancellor of one of the South's most distinguished institutions. He brought with him a reputation as a hard-working educator with tireless dedication, and he has certainly lived up to that reputation. Dr. Turner instituted the first campaign for Ole Miss, which attracted major private donations. More than $61 million been raised during the campaign. A native of Texas, Dr. Turner's educational background includes an Associate of Arts in Mathematics from Lubbock Christian College, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Abilene Christian University, and a Master of Arts and a Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology from the University of Texas at Austin. He has co-authored books and produced numerous scholarly papers in his field. Prior to being named Chancellor of the University of Mississippi, Dr. Turner was Vice President for Executive Affairs at the University of Oklahoma. Dr. Turner has held teaching positions at San Antonio College, at Prairie View A&M University in Texas, and at Pepperdine University in California. He is listed in several who's who and has served as president of the Southeastern Athletic Conference. He is a member of Phi Kappa Phi, Phi Theta Kappa, and Alpha Chi Honor Societies. Dr. Meredith served under Dr. Turner as executive assistant to the Chancellor from 1984 to 1987 and as Vice Chancellor for Executive Affairs from 1987 until being named Western's 8th President in August 1988. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Turner.
Thank you. Governor Ray Mabus, the people of Mississippi, and the Ole Miss community join you in celebrating the inauguration of Tom and Susan Meredith as the first family of Western Kentucky University. After borrowing him for 15 years, we're returning him to you reluctantly, ready for outstanding service. And just as we took care of him for 15 years, we are aware, very much aware, that Susan, who is a native Mississippian, and Matt and Mark, both native Mississippians, have also joined him in Kentucky. And so we know that you will care for them and cherish them as we have tried to take care of Tom during these years. I was very concerned when I heard that Colonel Alexander had resigned as president of Western Kentucky in 1987, because I knew that the best person to replace him was right in my office across the reception room from me. I also knew that if someone did talk with him about being a president or a chancellor, that none of us would be surprised. He was ready. He knew all that he would need to know. He knew important things like, if in fact things are going badly, you can turn your radio to a country and western station and find somebody more miserable than you ever thought about being. And that you can, as a president or a chancellor, sleep like a baby. Sleep a couple hours, get up and cry for a while, sleep another 2 hours and cry. Important things that he would need to know. When and if he did leave, I knew that I would miss him, not just as a vice chancellor or as a colleague, but somebody who had shared tremendous joys and very challenging defeats in some instances, certainly in one instance, a tragedy that sort of bonded us as soulmates together. So I wasn't surprised when you called him. You were really as smart as I thought you would be. And although there are a number of things that could be said, but let me just go through a little bit of what has been added, the value that's been added to your native Kentuckian during the time he was in Mississippi. Now, true, he brought a lot with him. He brought the strong values taught by his parents and those who helped to rear him in Owensboro. He brought a tremendous sense of fairness and dedication to the value of all people. He brought a commitment, a lifetime commitment to teaching. And he also brought a basic decency based upon his faith in God. In 1969, he left Kentucky to come to Mississippi. He brought those things, and he also brought 2 bum knees and a very mediocre tennis game. We have done very little over the 15 years to improve the latter. But his doctoral work at Ole Miss introduced him to the issues, the challenges, and the possibilities that would confront him as an educational administrator. For 10 years, he served as the chief academic officer with E.E. Thrash at the Board of Trustees of Institutions of Higher Learning. And I know he's pleased to see a number of those individuals from that board here today. From this particular position, he could see the major issues confronting higher education. And he also learned that it wasn't enough just to conceptualize them or to think of them, but they also had to be sold to board members, to legislators, to members of the executive branch, and to the individual campuses. The 4 years he was at Ole Miss, he had the opportunity to formulate educational and other kinds of policies and to help implement them really where the rubber meets the road on the individual campus. He did a great job there, and I don't know how anyone could have a broader, more complete background to address the issues of higher education and the issues that confront this institution than what Tom received when he was at Ole Miss. Those issues are varied, but there are several that challenge us no matter where the institution may be, east, west, north, south, central, it doesn't matter where. One of those is simply, how can this country maintain its technological independence and its leadership throughout the world? How is the quality of our higher education systems going to help to keep the United States in the forefront in technology and development? Second, how are we going to get all of our people, no matter their race, ethnic background, or whatever, to participate fully in the American dream? How are we going to get more black educators, more Hispanic educators, more others into the mainstream of higher education in leadership positions, faculty positions, and so on? We cannot afford to have 45 to 50% of our young people dropping out even before they've learned a trade or a higher education opportunity. Third, how are we going to maintain institutional integrity in times with so many forces impinging upon the institution? And fourth, how can we maximize the resources that are available to us? How can we have all state, federal, and private sources pitching together to make the institutional reality effective? And it requires everyone. We have created the Ole Miss Associates, a $1,000 a year group, and the Chancellor's Partners, a $100 a year group, with 450 in the first and over 650 in the second. The faculty and staff of Ole Miss, over 30 of them give $1,000 a year as associates. Over 35 to 40 of them give $100 a year as partners. It requires not only external forces, but the institution itself husbanding their resources to do what needs to be done. But the strong foundation that you gave, Dr. Meredith, in Kentucky, and the value-added components given in Mississippi, I think have provided the background for unique leadership at WKU in a number of ways, and let me briefly go through 6 of those. First is knowledge. There are very few people who are capable of conceptualizing the broad picture, but then be able to deal with the finite detail of implementing that broad picture. I know of very few. Tom Meredith is one of the most gifted people I know in combining these two abilities, that he can see the big picture, but he also knows the importance of the detail. It's been said that creation was on the grand scale, but deity is really in the detail, in being able to make sure that each part fits and works well. Second, emotional maturity. He's been emotionally tested from exhilaration and great triumph to also understanding and dealing with tragedy, and he can handle both. While having a full sense of human expression and human emotion, one of the great things about Dr. Meredith is that he realizes, even though achievement is the goal and success is the goal, that there will be other events, that there are other days, that there's another session, that there's another daily newspaper, and he can handle it. Third, judgment. When you take his basic disposition and the breadth of his experience, you have an outcome being uncommon judgment. I define judgment as the ability to predict outcomes, because judgment can only sometimes be viewed after an event has occurred. And the ability to predict outcomes is a great ability. And I've never worked with anyone whose judgment I respected more and leaned on more than that of your president. Fourth, sense of humor. His good spirit, the warmth of his sense of humor, and the goodness in his personality will help you and him get through tough times together. However, for those of you who work closely with him, let me warn you, if you ever so much as smile at one of his puns, he will punish you again by telling you another one, worse than the first one. But those gifts will get you through some tough times. Fifth, his strong work ethic. As has been mentioned, he has a great deal of energy, he has a strong work ethic, and he's absolutely committed to seeing things done right and seeing them done in a first-class way. Those of you who might want to be careless or to do things in less than a first-class way will not want to work closely with him, because he will demand that you do things in a first-class way. And sixth and finally, perspective, the greatest gift of all. Without perspective, it's impossible to see real realities. From dust we've come and to dust we go, and like the writer of Ecclesiastes said, that the summation of everything is to fear God and keep his commandments. You will be well served by having someone who has a sense of his role in the universe. Although much more could be said, Tom Meredith truly is a special person coming to you at a special time. He knows who he is, and he knows where he's from. He's from Western Kentucky. You could not have anyone that would be prouder of you, as I know you are proud of him. No one could be happier to serve you, and I don't believe anyone could be more qualified to lead you. We in Mississippi love Tom and Susan, Matt and Mark. Over time, I know you have begun to also, but you will learn even more fully why we love them as dearly as we do. If, in fact, the Spirit makes the master, then Western Kentucky is going to do quite well. Your 8th president, Tom Meredith, will be a grand leader. My congratulations to you.
Dr. Turner, thank you so much for those most appropriate and inspiring remarks. I can now understand why Dr. Meredith considers you a special mentor. I now present to you Mr. Joseph Arrakane, Chairman of the Board of Regents. Mr. Arrakane will perform the investiture.
Dr. Meredith, members of the Meredith family, distinguished stage guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Regents of Western Kentucky University, it is my pleasure to extend greetings to you and welcome you to this historical event in the life of Western. We are particularly pleased to have so many distinguished guests from institutions of higher education and learning societies from across America. We are honored by your presence, and we welcome you to participate in this occasion of the inauguration of our president. At the time the board began the process of selecting the 8th president of Western Kentucky University, we sought an individual who possessed a vision of energy to make this university an even more significant institution for the people of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We sought an individual with high ideals, one who values tradition, and yet dreams a greater future. We sought an individual whose experienced background foretold the talent that would be necessary to lead our institution into the future with dynamic direction. We sought and found such an individual in Dr. Tom Meredith. With his arrival at Western, Dr. Meredith brought a spirit of enthusiasm and excitement for this institution and for his native state. His efforts have been untiring, his direction unwavering, his leadership unquestioned. He has demonstrated by his performance that he possesses the personal and professional qualifications to fulfill the goals and objectives of this board and the people of the great state of Kentucky. We are excited about our future. We welcome the challenge of serving the ever-growing student body here at Western. We are ready to accommodate the public service needs in business, industry, and government, and provide the knowledge and research capability needed to improve and enhance our state. Western Kentucky University rejects the ideal of complacency and adopts the views of expansive views in the roles of institutions of higher education. We seek to contribute a meaningful and significant way to the intellectual and social and economic enhancement of the Commonwealth. We face the challenge with confidence as we move forward under the leadership of Dr. Meredith. As a board, we pledge our full support to his efforts. Indeed, we are proud to have Tom Meredith, Susan, Mark, and Matt as the first family of Western Kentucky University. Now, Dr. Meredith, will you please come to the podium? By virtue of the authority vested in the Board of Regents of Western Kentucky University, I am pleased to present to you the official medallion of the university, which symbolizes the responsibility and the authority of the Office of the Presidency. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I hereby invest you, Thomas C. Meredith, as President of Western Kentucky University.
Thank you very much. Chairman Ira Kane, Chancellor Turner, members of the Board of Regents, faculty, staff, students, visitors, and friends of Western. I stand before you honored at the thought of having the opportunity to be inaugurated today as the 8th president of this great university. I'm humbled by the faith and confidence shown in me by this dedicated Board of Regents. As I've read the monumental accomplishments by my predecessors in this position, I'm inspired to give my all to make sure that I don't let them down, or to let down the thousands of alumni who have left this institution since its beginning. I want to pause for just a moment to say thank you to Susan's parents, Charles and Betty Steen, for their continued faith and support. And I also want to express more thanks than I can put into words to my mother, who always kept me heading in the right direction. To my wife, Susan, and my sons, Mark and Matt, I thank you for your flexibility and your understanding and your love. And I want to thank all of you for being here, especially those of you who are longtime friends who travel far to be with me today. I want to express a special appreciation to Dr. Lowell Harrison, retired professor of history, for his definitive book on the history of Western. It helped me to better understand the roots of this university today. From its creation in 1906, Dr. Cherry led this institution for 31 years with an inspired determination to make it more than anyone expected that it could be, to make it a leader in higher education in this state and in this nation, and most importantly, to provide an avenue for education for deserving men and women of this great state. He was successful in his endeavor. When the state established this institution as the Western Kentucky State Normal School, the Bowling Green Business University was separated from the Southern Normal School and was declared to be a separate institution, working in close harmony with the new normal school. The Bowling Green Business University, or BU as it was affectionately known, had its own separate illustrious reputation until the time of its reunion with Western Kentucky State Teachers College in 1963. Many great leaders have succeeded Dr. Cherry, and they have all adhered to the basic standards under which he established this institution. Dr. Paul L. Garrett became Western's second president, and in the tradition of long tenures set by Dr. Cherry, served as president of Western for 18 years. He was followed by Dr. Kelly Thompson, who served for 14 years, and Dr. Dero Downing, who served for 10. Dr. John Minton became interim president, was declared president after serving for almost a year. And he was followed by Dr. Don Zacharias, who served this institution for 6 years. And Dr. Kern Alexander served as this institution's chief executive officer for 2.5 years. And Paul Cook served an admirable stint as an interim president. And although I noticed with some apprehension that the terms of the presidents of Western over the years have consistently gotten shorter, I hope to reverse that trend. As a new president, one would have to be somewhat suspect to assume this role, knowing that 3 former presidents and 1 interim president not only live in Bowling Green, but are all still associated with the university. I hasten to tell you that to the man, no one has been more supportive of my presidency than each of these gentlemen. And for that, I want to publicly say thank you. At this institution, we brag about the spirit of Western. And there are many descriptions of that spirit, and they all fit. And I'm sure you all noticed the inscription on our seal, which says, "The Spirit makes the master." President Kelly Thompson tells a story of the day that President Cherry took him to the front steps by which we entered this auditorium, and pointing to the hills, said, "Look as far as you can see and describe it to me." And Dr. Thompson eagerly replied, "I see the horizon very clearly, with the hills meeting the sky and the beautiful countryside between the horizon and the campus. And Dr. Cherry said, you must see farther than that. You must see beyond those hills, beyond that horizon, for beyond are Kentucky boys and girls desperately in need of education. Remember that you must always see farther than you can see. The Spirit is also evidenced by the fact that large numbers of faculty and staff have been at this institution for long periods of time. They have stayed not because it was an undemanding sanctuary, but because of that special spirit that existed then and existed now. The spirit that says, give a little more than is required, because not only will the university benefit and the students benefit, but you will benefit inside. Dr. Cherry had a well-known story regarding filling an apple bucket in his father's orchard. You don't fill the bucket to the rim, his father said. You fill it above the rim. You always give extra measure. He said, this is a lesson you can use in all aspects of your life. The Spirit is also demonstrated through the genuine caring that exists here among the faculty, staff, and students. There is a desire for all to be successful. My theme for our students, and one that I share with incoming freshmen, was obtained from Dr. William Glasser, a noted author and psychologist from California. The theme says that at Western we'll do everything possible to help you be successful. Our job is not to fail you, but to help you succeed. We will use all of our resources. We'll take whatever time necessary to assist you in getting your degree. However, if you choose to fail, it'll be out of our hands. I want our reputation to spread far and wide, that if you go to college at Western, you have to work for your degree. There are no gifts, but they care about you. And they'll work with you every step of the way to help you be successful. The major strength of this faculty, of this university, is its strong, competent, talented, and caring faculty. That strength is enhanced and supported by a dedicated staff that is unsurpassed. Because our faculty and staff carry that Western spirit and impart it to our students and visitors, it continues to survive. What's the purpose of Western? Our first purpose to me is to prepare our students to be competitive, productive members of society. Very simple. We must instill in them a desire to make this world in which we live a better place to be, not only through the use of their talents and knowledge, but through humaneness and caring. We must instill in our students the desire to continue to learn after they have left our guidance and leadership. An old philosopher once said that our job is simply to touch the fire to the wick of learning. We must inspire each of our students to reach his or her full potential. And we can accomplish all of this through excellence in teaching and by being conscious of and attentive to how we treat those who have chosen us to prepare them for life. Even though we may be relentless in adhering to our academic standards, we must demonstrate caring and concern. We must be good listeners. We must not be afraid to stand tall for what is right. For our every action sets a standard for the future. Our actions will be mimicked by those we teach. Teaching must be our real strength. It always has been, and it continues today. Herman Lee Donovan was officially the first enrollee in Western Kentucky State Normal School. He later became the president of Eastern Kentucky University and the University of Kentucky. But upon his retirement, he said, I've never seen in any school such a passion for learning as I found on the campus of Western, and teachers so anxious to serve students. President Cherry and a faculty of devoted, consecrated teachers called out the best in students. The importance of faculty and teaching was stressed by A. Bartlett Giamatti in his inaugural address at Yale in 1978. I believe the faculty is at the heart of this place, he said. And I believe that at the heart of the faculty in a place like Yale is the teaching function. All the research we want to do, all the obligations we must carry as faculty are in some sense nurtured by and are versions of that first calling, which is to teach our students. We want always to do more, but we can never do less, nor can we ever forget that. Little did we know that such wise words regarding the importance of teaching would lead to the position of commissioner of professional baseball. Although we have no aspirations to be a comprehensive research university, we must be engaged in research, if for no other reason, than to enhance our primary function of teaching. Some of our faculty are engaged in research that is pushing against the boundaries of existing knowledge. They will be recognized and rewarded. Others are engaged in finding new ways to apply existing knowledge. That is crucial, and they too will be rewarded. If one is going to be a part of a faculty at a university, then one must be alive and involved in one's discipline and not just be a user. We must be engaged in finding ways to improve society. The third leg of the university's triad, service, is critical as we apply what we teach and study to the real world and then bring the real world into the classroom. The number of college graduates in our society is still too low. This places an ever greater burden on those who are graduates. They must be broadly educated, and they must be the ones to perpetuate and further develop an appreciation for the cultural side of our society, particularly in the arts. Western is now in the process of restructuring its general educational requirements in a way that is intended to help develop this well-rounded individual. We must provide experiences and relationships that will prepare our graduates to operate with confidence in a diversified world. This can be accomplished through having a diversified faculty, staff, and student body. Diverse in terms of race, sex, place of birth, and educational attainment. We will increase the opportunities for these experiences at Western. What about the future of Western? As I looked in the dictionary to see the meaning of the word inauguration, it referred to a beginning and a new start, and we all know that. But as I looked at the root of that word and saw the word augur, the root means foretelling, an omen, forecasting, to predict. Allow me to talk for just a few minutes about where Western is going. Western must maintain and enhance its reputation that no one does a better job in the classroom than we do. We will begin planning an instructional resource center that will provide the kind of professional support for our faculty that will enable them to be even better. We will develop more widespread avenues for recognition of excellence in teaching. The students being admitted to Western are the best in this institution's history, and the quality increases with each passing year. We must continue to increase the demands in our classroom to meet this wonderful challenge. Students will rise to meet our expectations, particularly if caring accompanies the expectations. We must increase the research and professional activity within our various disciplines. Support and recognition must be improved for activities in these areas as well, and they will. One of Western's expanded functions in the future will revolve around service. We will use our collective expertise to be of assistance to society. We'll do this through a greatly expanded role in continuing education activities. We will put in place an economic development center that will have all of our expertise conveniently and efficiently accessible to small business, industry, farmers, school systems, and potential investors in this state. The long-range impact on this region and the entire state will be beyond what we now envision. With the full development of this concept, we can and will make a difference in Kentucky. Repeated changes in administration can lead to confusion among faculty regarding avenues for success. It's time to establish standards from the departmental level through the institutional level that will transcend changes. Standards that will be clear, acceptable, and attainable. In a few short years, the number of retiring faculty members will increase dramatically at Western and at other institutions across this country. Our professorial ranks will be depleted very quickly. At the same time, we're expected to experience a new enrollment explosion. We must have in place a plan to be competitive for the small number of new faculty members that will be available. We're working on that plan now. As the demand for the limited resources provided for higher education increases, it will be incumbent upon our institution to establish clearer priorities among its many activities, and we will. I cannot let the mention of resources pass without stating the critical need for improvement in faculty and staff salaries at this institution and in all the institutions in Kentucky. The continued development of our support staff and supervisory staff is critical and is crucial to the success of this university. We will begin planning programs that will allow our staff to improve themselves for promotion. We will also begin planning programs to enhance the communication and administrative skills of those with supervisory responsibilities. We will continue to develop those international connections which allow our faculty and students to be involved in meaningful experiences abroad. We will maintain our commitment to our off-campus centers. Their importance continues to grow. And we will continue to work with the Council on Higher Education to make higher education more accessible to the citizens of this state. As our population of non-traditional students increases repeatedly, we must be prepared to meet their special needs. They now comprise 32% of our enrollment. I have just received a report from a special committee I commissioned to study this very issue. We will make the necessary adjustments. We are located in the fastest growing area of Kentucky. The population of Bowling Green and Warren County could possibly double in the next 25 years. The impact on this institution, which has already grown 25% in the last 5 years, may be phenomenal. We must be prepared to meet this challenge. We are excited about our partnership with Bowling Green, our region, and this state as we meet the challenges and opportunities of growth. We must not only meet those needs, we must make a difference. We must, however, remain committed to our theme of not sacrificing quality for quantity. We will initiate new procedures for determining just how well we prepare our students. No one knows that answer better than our graduates and their employers. We will ask them. The prelude to that process is to clearly identify what we are trying to accomplish in the first place. I have long believed that the key to success is confidence, and the one has confidence by being prepared for the challenge. It is our job, our opportunity, to adequately prepare those who have come to us for that purpose. Soon we will initiate a private fundraising effort. We can no longer depend on adequate state support to help us be competitive, to enable us to provide the kinds of experiences our students deserve, to provide the service our state needs, and to attract and retain enough qualified faculty. Western alumni and friends have always been generous to this institution because of their love for and belief in her. The time has now come for that generosity to expand. The golden opportunities facing this great university can and must be addressed through the enabling support of those who believe in Western Kentucky University and those who harbor their deep abiding love for the institution on the Hill. President Dero Downing pointed out to me a saying on a large mural in the Margie Helm Library. Back of the deed was the doer. Back of the doer, the dream. We will continue to dream, and we will continue to be successful. I know that Western is destined to be an even greater university than it is today. This dedicated and supported Board of Regents is committed to that end. Those who now labor furiously without concern for the clock in student affairs and administrative affairs and business affairs and academic affairs are already convinced that we are moving forward rapidly. Our competent and caring faculty is making it happen, and our students and alumni are feeling it happen. As I continue my tenure as the president of Western, I bear in mind a cross-stitch saying that my wife did for me a number of years ago. It serves as a guiding force for my daily activities. Let me share it with you. This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving in its place something that I have traded for it. I want it to be gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not regret the price I paid for it. From what I've observed, I believe this philosophy guides many at Western already. Let us commit ourselves anew to our noble profession of higher education. Let us commit our resources, our time, our energy, and expertise at an even higher level for the future. None of us will ever regret the price we pay. Thank you.
Nearly 100 years ago, Henry Hardin Cherry wrote that he wanted the reputation of his school to be sustained by real merit. Now Thomas Meredith inherits the challenge that President Cherry left for his successors, to build an institution sustained by real excellence. In a state still plagued by serious educational problems, strong leadership from universities and their presidents is crucial to our future. We wish President Meredith every success in his efforts to make a better education available to all Kentuckians. From Western Kentucky University, I'm David Lee.
Gracious